One of my favorite things about myself and my life and the way that I have been able to set things up is that one of my superpowers is time management. And when I say it's a superpower, for those of you that struggle with time management, you totally understand what I mean about time management being a superpower. Because I believe that there's nothing I can take on to my plate and not delegate and spend the right amount of time that I'm needing on that project. I think a lot of my success in life has come because I am very diligent when it comes to my time, and I'm very specific on how I manage my time, and I make an effort to manage my time very strategically. And so I know to some people it might look like I have all the time in the world, and it might look like that I'm just sitting around doing absolutely nothing, right? And I get it because I make it look good. But the reality is I am just a very, very, very skilled time manager. And so I thought it would be a good time to make a video to share out a little bit of my time management skills. One of the main important things I like to do for my time management is to put myself on a schedule. And so I know when people hear schedule, you think, oh my God, it's so rigid. I can't follow anything. I can't whatever. Cool. If you're already making those excuses for yourself, you are absolutely right. You are not going to be able to manage your time effectively. However, if you are somebody that's curious about this, let me just take you through a little bit of how I map out my time and a little bit of how I organize myself. So there's a couple of things I need to make sure I do within a day because I have to do them because they're either my job or I'm doing them for my personal health or I'm doing them because I want to do them. Those couple of things are I work out every single day. I always have to eat, so I make time to eat. I have to grade and do work and do schoolwork and do presentations, things like that. So I have to grade and work. And then I also have a couple of other things I'm responsible for as far as creating content for this channel, as well as property managing and doing other things that I do because of my skill set. And so what I do, what I call them is time blocks. And so basically what a time block is for me is I take my day and I divide my time in blocks. And so I allot certain times and certain hours to myself. For example, I might say, okay, for tomorrow's workout, or I'll plan it out in a week, like whatever works for me. For tomorrow's workout, I'm going to need about an hour and a half. If I'm going to need an hour and a half to work out, that means I'm probably going to need 15 minutes to get ready, 15 minutes to stretch after my workout, and probably about 30 minutes after my workout to shower and do whatever else I need to do. So that time block goes from an hour and a half to 2.5 hours. So somewhere in my day, I need to block off 2.5 hours so I can do what I need to do. The other thing is with grading, or that sometimes grading is kind of like a fluffy thing, so I don't want to really add that. I'll add something more relatable, creating content. So what I do in any given day, sometimes I'm feeling super creative. And sometimes when I say I'm feeling creative, I can create 2 to 3 videos a day. And what I do is whenever I'm feeling creative, I will record in that moment. So it doesn't matter if I am in the middle of something, I will start taking notes, and maybe one day I'll share kind of the notes that I take. But one thing that I'll do is I'll just be sitting there and I'll just be thinking, and something will cross my mind, and I'll say something like, oh my gosh, Texas spring game is this weekend. What's going on with that? Or I'll say, oh my gosh, I keep seeing such and such in the news. Like, I wonder what's going on with that, right? So like throughout the day, my brain is working, so it's sparking ideas. And so once it's time for me to create content, I will sit down and I have allotted time blocked off to create content. I do not create content outside of those hours that I have allotted unless I start to feel creative. Sometimes when I block the hours for content creation, I'm not necessarily making a video. I am actually editing a video or going onto YouTube and seeing what video I want to release next. I've said many of times, a lot of the videos that I have and that you will see release are pre-made. So they're made ahead of time. There are certain things that happen if certain news drops and I have an opinion or I have something to say, I will take the time to actually create a video in that instance. But a lot of the videos that you see that come out have already been made, edited, and I'm holding on to them. I think right now I probably have videos on backlog that are waiting to be uploaded and waiting to be released. I think right now I have 9. And what I do is I keep them on my computer or in my phone, have them all edited and ready to go. And I make their thumbnails and I keep them. And so I know for some people are thinking like, how does she have time to do all this? It's very specific time management. So the time blocking works for me with everything. So I time block workouts. I time block how much I'm going to work. I time block my schedule for everything. When I'm going to go to the grocery store, when I'm going to hang out. There also is always a time in my day where I have a spare hour or two. And what I do with the spare hour or two is that is what I manipulate and can move in different ways. So sometimes on certain days, you might see a lot of me because I'm able to do that. On other days, that hour and a half is not as movable. But what it's doing is it's baking myself in time to always be caught up. Because I believe that if you stay ahead, you don't ever have to worry about being behind, because even you're ahead. If you have a day where you don't get much done, I have those days where you don't get much done and you have to punt a lot of things to the next day, you can do that because you're already ahead. So I always do things ahead of time. My grades are due on a certain time every week. I always have my grades finished, usually before that time period, because again, for time blocking. So I personally go into the week and I prepare myself for the week ahead. And if I prepare myself for the week ahead, when anything happens, I can maneuver in and out of things due to the time block. So time blocking is very important for me, and it's a super effective way to manage your time. Other thing I do is I call it time clusters. And I already kind of explained what I mean by this. But what happens is if I'm working out and I have something else that I'm thinking about, I will do those things together. So I always try to multitask within my time block. So within my time block, I might be like, oh my gosh, I want to watch that YouTube show, or I want to catch up on this, or I want to watch my videos back, but I'm out of time in my time block, but I need to watch these videos back. What I will do is I might go, okay, I need to also go to the grocery store. So I will go to the grocery store and I will be listening to my video that I haven't released in my ear. And so again, doing multiple things at once, because when I'm done, like when I need a break, I will take a break and I will check out, and that means I'm done. If I'm done, I'm done. The other thing to note is that I work from home. All of the jobs and everything I do, I can do all of those things from home. So because I work from home, it allows me to manage my time better. I also do not do any housework when unless it's like on the weekend. So like big tasks and big things like that, if I'm working and stuff like that, I won't try to interweave those, because I feel like it clutters my day too much when I'm trying to do cleaning at home, because I feel like cleaning at home, there's always something that happens, then it just deters me. So I always try to find ways to have clean cut expectations of what I'm expecting of myself during that time. And then I will do other things. The other thing I want to point out that really ties together my time management, and I think is super important to my success of being able to manage my time so effectively, is certain days mean certain things to me. I said before when I went live that Mondays and Thursdays are usually my days where I'm a little bit more free than other days, and that is by design. And that is because when football season is in, Monday night football and Thursday night football are things. They're not the greatest games, and I'm not saying that I sit down and watch every single game, but I always want to have that time set aside for myself, that I'm able to do what I need to do within the certain time constraints. That's super important for me, because I feel like if I cannot manage my time and put myself first when it comes to my own life, then I can't give anything to anybody else ever. And so it's really important to me to center myself and to manage my time and to make sure I do all the things I'm supposed to do for myself. The other thing that's super important for me is I separate weekends from weekdays. My weekends are a little bit more loose, a little bit more free, a little bit more about me, a little bit about more of the things that I want to do. And so the reason why I say that is because I clutter everything Monday through Friday. I usually like to clutter so much Monday through Friday in a way that sometimes it can be overwhelming. But if I clutter a lot of things Monday through Friday, that means Saturday and Sunday, I actually can make times for myself, my family, my friends, my whatever, because I have done everything I need to do during the week. So this is what works for me because I am a time manager. I've always been a time manager. I got my PhD in 3 years because I managed my time. I was working 2 full-time jobs and I got my PhD in the same time. So even in my master's program, I was working 2 full-time jobs and going to school. I was working 2 full-time jobs, going to school for about 4 years, getting my master's and PhD because that's what I chose to do. And the way that I was able to do that is by managing my time. And so managing my time is one of my many superpowers. And some of you might not even want to listen to this. Some of you might be like, this is ridiculous. I don't even know why she's making a video about this, but somebody might really gain something from this. A friend of mine told me I should make a video about this because somebody might be able to learn a little bit about how I manage my time. You might be able to take some of my tips and some of the things that I'm doing to really help you manage your time. And if that works for you, amazing. I love time management. I love being effective. I love being efficient. I don't like wasting my time, which is why I'm very particular about my time management. But I will say, I just want to throw in this caveat before I head off. I will say what does end up happening though, when you are a really good time manager, somebody else that doesn't manage their time effectively, it does something to you because it's like, manage your time. Like, how do you not know? Like, how did you not do this thing? Like, manage your time. I also totally understand that everybody doesn't live the life that I live. I also understand that everybody's not in the same position that I'm in. I also very much realize that I work from home. And that's a privilege. I went to school early and got all my degrees, and that's a privilege. I have multiple streams of income, and that's a privilege. I got it. I have all these things that you can say have me being a privileged person, and you can say that you can't relate to me because I'm privileged. However, let me tell you this. There was a point in time where I wasn't privileged. And there was a point in time where I was working 2 full-time jobs and going to school full-time. So I had to get it. I had to go in, I had to dig deep, and I had to figure it out because I needed to do certain things in life. And this time management and all the things I'm talking about and all the jobs I worked and all the ways that I've hustled and all the things I've done also helped me to pay off my student loans. And if I think about it, I will put up how much I owed in student loans. Maybe I'll make another video about how I paid off my student loan debt, but I don't know if anybody wants to hear that or care about that, but whatever. I'm just saying the things that I am talking about, I actually lived them and I did them and they work. And I continue to manage my time effectively and new things continue to come up and I continue to tweak and I continue to self-reflect and I continue to make changes. But if you are somebody that struggles with time management, maybe watch this video a few times, maybe take a few notes and take some of the things that I'm doing and see if it works for you. Because I really do believe in calendar blocking, time blocking, hour blocking, whatever you want to call it. Just make sure that you're equating for everything, even eating. Because if you don't equate for everything, you will be stuck just doing nothing. And if you're doing nothing, you're not being effective. And I strongly dislike when I am not being effective. I need to do things and I need to have a certain allotment for the things that I do. And that's just how I go through life. So like I always say, take it or leave it. I'm just trying to give advice that I wish somebody would have told me and that I wish somebody would have helped me. So I'm just going to continue to share that out and hopefully somebody finds this very valuable because I wish I would have known this probably 10, 15 years ago. But hey, we live, we learn, we share. So here's me doing my due diligence and sharing and doing my thing. So hopefully it helps somebody else that might need it.